Greetings, fellow crystal gems. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the first episode of Tiki's Universe in God knows how long, where we actually talk about Steven Universe. Wow. Okay, Dragon. Oh boy. So, folks, we're going to be like every other animation-based podcast on the internet right now and bitch about Cartoon Network's airing schedule, aren't we, Dragon?
Pretty much.
Okay, so folks, Steven Universe, they go on literally the longest hiatus that this show has ever gone. The last time we saw a new episode of this show was May, Dragon. Freaking May, all right?
It's been that long, eh?
There's been 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that have come out since then.
That's the good time marker right there.
But
even Tiki, not even that, even a DC film.
I know, right? Oh god. And even a Christopher Nolan film, Dunkirk.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh my god, it's like the world is now flat. It's gone.
And Dragon, bringing back Steven Universe. I mean, none of us expect anything less of the channel at this point, but this is honestly like just a new low for this show. Yeah, we're not even going to air it on the channel. We're just going to drop it online. So, Dragon, this is like an on the field report from me. Like this is like an on field like interview. Dragon, tell me, Dragon, as someone who lived through the Legend of Korra, how does this make you feel? Are you getting flashbacks of the Legend of Korra situation right now, Dragon?
Well, to tell you the truth, Tiki, yes, I'm getting some vague Korra flashbacks because, of course, famously the last 2 seasons, possibly a little before that too, but I know definitely the last 2 seasons suffered from that because Legend of Korra, a very great quality show that towards the end, just Nickelodeon. For some reason, they just kind of gave up on, despite the fact it was a really good show, was continuing the Avatar thing. Essentially, it was Batman
essentially, it's like Steven Universe. It's a really good show, has a big fan base, albeit a not-so-great fan base, but that's neither here nor there. I'm saying for Steven Universe, not for Korra, but...
Sure. Well, actually, believe it or not, Korra and Steven Universe do kind of face a similar level of scrutiny to a degree. But anyway, let's neither here nor there. I'm just saying they do share quite a few similarities. Now you're bringing it up
in terms of like a toxic fan base.
Well, I mean, maybe not toxic fan base, but I mean, a lot of times, like people, let's say,
trust me, like I know a lot of folks. This is so weird. This feels like we're living in just like a post-apocalyptic world right now, talking about this show. All right, Dragon, because like in between the time that Steven Universe last aired and now, I know people who have literally just given up on this show because of how toxic the fan base is. So, folks, consider this whole podcast like a therapy session about the state of this show right now. Because, like, the days of, like, season 3 and, like, everyone being in love with this show and it being, like, the most hyped about animated show on TV, that's long over, Dragon. We are living in very, very strange times when it comes to being a fan of this show. Very strange times indeed.
Believe me, I've waited for shows for such a long time. You wouldn't believe me if I told you how long I waited for some shows' returns.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
No, I'm seriously. I got one that trumps this easily. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm just saying it's.
Oh, you can't tell me what it is, really? Oh, I can't love tell when you get all cryptic, Dragon. It's adorable.
Again, you're not ready for it, but at some point,
see what I mean, folks. I love when he gets like this. I love. I'm sorry, Dragon. I don't mean to demean you. I genuinely do find it adorable. I'm not ready for it.
When we get there, Tiki, when we get to it, you're going to be blown away by how long. Again, it's for a reason that we haven't kind of class on yet. But anyway.
Oh, God.
My point. Getting back to Steven.
Folks, yeah, I want to just point out, he's been literally hyping this up to me for a number of years at this point.
Again, I've been building to it. It's like it's a break glass in case of emergency type thing. Again, it's for one and the other.
All right. Anyway, we're going down a rabbit hole here.
My point. the reason I kind of said about Korra is, I believe it or not, Tiki, Korra and Steven Universe are under kind of a similar level of kind of scrutiny and discrimination from certain groups. Believe it or not, they actually do kind of umbrella under that. So I mean, they do kind of like they're kind of counted among the same class of quality show. They kind of press. They're gutsy shows. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So let me see how just put that out there. But
I mean, I do know that Korra, like, probably not as in your face as Steven Universe, but Korra definitely had the same sort of progressive themes to a certain extent. I know that much.
The difference is that with Korra, it was really towards the end. It was really towards the end, where Steven Universe is kind of there from the get go. It's kind of the main, or at least not like almost towards the get go. Steven Universe. I don't know how far in advance. I assume from the beginning. That's a guess. Anyway,
I want to kind of be one of the few podcasts that isn't just like, oh, Cartoon Network should stop airing Teen Titans Go all the time, because yeah, obviously they should. But Dragon, I want to look at this like, if not from a positive point of view, I want to look at this from a constructive point of view. All right. Okay. And folks, believe me, trust me, like, bear with us. We're going to talk about the actual episode soon. All right. Just, we need to break this all down because it's a very unique circumstance. But Dragon, here's what I think the thing is. I actually think Cartoon Network, in some respects, is getting ahead of the game because they know that network TV, Dragon, it's a fucking fossil at this point. It's dying off. Like, I don't watch network TV anymore. The only time I ever watch network TV is like when I go into my dad's room to watch The Walking Dead with him. You know what I mean? Any online, any media, any TV shows, I'll just consume online. Like, like I said, there might be a rare case, like I'll go watch Survivor out in the living room with my grandparents, but it just very, I feel like Cartoon Network, by shifting the show to the app instead of airing it online, it's not necessarily that they've given up on the show. I honestly kind of look at it the other way around. Like, by airing Teen Titans Go as much as they are on the actual channel, Dragon, I think the situation isn't so much that Cartoon Network's given up on Steven Universe. I think the situation is that Cartoon Network's almost kind of given up on actually, like, being a network. I feel like Cartoon Network is kind of focusing on shifting towards an online streaming only at this point. And I don't know, that's just what I see from the situation. That's what I read, because at this point, folks, you turn on Cartoon Network, there's not going to be anything but Teen Titans Go. We all know it. Like, it's a major, it's either going to be Teen Titans Go or Adult Swim. I'm sorry, Drake, go ahead.
Well, I'll give you the biggest example of why you might be on something there. The biggest piece of evidence in your favor on this would be Justice League Action. That was a show that was broadcast, was on TV. Basically, it's a compilation of vignette shorts, usually 2 to 3. And what's happened with it recently is that it was airing on television. Basically, what they've done is they've kind of broken them down, if not made them even shorter, to purely be online now. I mean, they had episodes in the can. Basically, they broke those down. Anything past that, now they're doing it as shorts. That's playing into the future that you're predicting. So I don't think you're far off with that. That, yeah, Cartoon Network is they're trying to kind of capitalize on the they're like one step away from going for like a Netflix.
Dragon, for a hot second, Cartoon Network actually had it, right? Like, for a hot second, they had, like, Steven Universe, I'm about to say Star vs. Force of Evil, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, regular show. I haven't watched We Bare Bears, but I've actually heard that was quite good. I wasn't a fan of Gumball, but that definitely has its fans. You know what I mean?
For a second, like, We Bare Bears. I've seen like maybe like of the 10-minute like little 10-minute break-ins. I saw one episode and I saw a bit of other one. I gotta tell you, again, a show I just wrote off instantly. I gotta tell you, the glimpses I saw of it had great potential.
All right, well, this isn't a We Bare Bears, Bob.
I just want to point it out.
All right, but you know my point. Like, for a hot second there, for like a year or two, and then I feel, Dragon, it's like, I always make this analogy talking about Cartoon Network. I distinctly remember, this will always stick out of my mind, no matter if Cartoon Network bounces back or not. This will always stick in my mind. One year I went to Six Flags, and Six Flags has all kind of banners, around the park, and they're hooked up with Warner Brothers, so they have a lot of Cartoon Network banners, right? One year, I believe it was 2014, they have banners for Over the Garden Wall, which, Dragon, I know you're not a fan of it. I know you haven't checked it out. For my money, I think Over the Garden Wall is single-handedly the best thing that Cartoon Network's ever produced.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yes, and one day
Really?
I very much hope to talk about it on Haunted Holiday Hijinks, all right? Like, Over the Garden Wall is a masterpiece. But, like, Over the Garden Wall, to me, was a creative high point for Cartoon Network. And then Dragon, the very next year, guess what banners at Six Flags I saw all over the place for Cartoon Network? What show they were promoting?
What banners? What show?
Teen Titans Go.
I wish you had
the very next year. So the network literally went from the creative high point, literally, for my money, the best thing that they ever produced, to Teen Titans Go. It's like it nosedives so fucking quickly. I don't know, Dragon, but like I said, I don't necessarily think that Cartoon Network wants to give up on their original programming. I think they are in a weird place with Steven Universe because Cartoon Network knows exactly how toxic the Steven Universe fan base is. So, I don't know. It's just really weird. It's just a really, really odd situation. Like, I literally feel like the world has turned on its head since the last time we talked about this show.
Can I briefly say a really mean thing about Teen Titans Go?
Sure, why not?
Teen Titans Go is a cancer on animation. It really is.
Yeah, I think we all know that, Dragon. I think we all share your sentiment.
It's a cancer that needs to be cut out of society.
All right.
I hate
Dragon,
it so much.
let me ask you this, Dragon. Let me ask you this. If you had the choice to watch, the choice to watch like 6 episodes of Teen Titans Go in a row or watch Sausage Party, what would you watch?
I don't want to answer that.
That's like a Sophie's Choice, right? It's like no matter what choice you give, you lose. All right. Anyways, Dragon, do you want to actually talk about Steven Universe now and not just Cartoon Network as a whole?
Sure.
All right. So overall, Dragon, what was your thoughts on this whole? I don't think we have an official arc for it, so we'll just call it the Connie Steven arc.
Or better yet, the split.
The split. All right.
Yeah, because they kind of split. And usually, they're a lot of times they fuse together.
The winter divide.
The December divide.
All right. Dragon, overall thoughts on these 6 episodes as a whole?
Folks, I hate to kind of come out of all that negativity into more, but I got to tell you,
God.
I was it like it wasn't bad, but it let me down.
Yeah, they didn't do a terrible ton for me. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I mean, I don't remember the credits, and Tiki, assuming are all the stills we have here of the episode little.
It's just the title cards. Yeah.
Well, it might give me an inkling. I mean, you sifted through. I'm not saying sift through them now, but can you remember if Rebecca Sugar was involved in the writing of any of these?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing her name.
Now, I'm not saying that Rebecca Sugar is like the purely the single X factor of every Steven Universe episode, but I'm saying it shows that it wasn't exactly any sugar magic in these. And I kind of except moments in one. Again, there are moments in with the Sadie episode, but
Yeah, I agree that I think the Sadie episode, even though ironically enough, the Sadie episode probably had the least to do with the arc as a whole. It was probably the best one out of the 6.
And look, if I'm being honest, I think 2 episodes out of this whole lot, I think one of them had moments. The other one, basically 2 of them I thought were, let's say, I think Dewey wins and Sadie Killer were the highlights of it. But again, it's not by much.
Well, that's funny because I thought that Dewey wins was like just not a great way to start out at all.
I mean, you're right. It's not. I'm just saying honestly, just compared to the rest of them. I mean, I was let down.
Well, folks, I'm sorry to say that if you're looking for a podcast that is just going to kind of like blindly praise the show, this is not the one. It used to be the one, Dragon. We used to be the freaking biggest fans of the show in the world. What happened?
Except of Onion Gang.
Onion Gang and Rocknaldo. That's about it. But everyone hates Rocknaldo.
And again, I mean, those are like you either those are polarizing or you
Those
hate
are
or
like
love.
the Arnold betrays Icky of this show.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like the majority of the episodes is usually like you love it or you feel really passionate about. In this case, these are just all kind of meh. It's like they're okay. They're like they're not offensive, but it's like I don't care about them.
I
And that's
will
kind of,
say that I do really like the arc of Connie and Steven as a whole. I thought the way the
I had
storyline
issues
worked
with it.
out, it was very natural, it was very realistic, it was very true to life. I liked it a lot. I just think the episodes that storyline was structured around were kind of dull.
I'm not shooting down the idea, but I think it went on way too late. They shouldn't have structured the whole thing around that. That's my big problem with it. I think there were flaws with this, with this grouping of it, with this Steven bomb. It's the first time I really just didn't feel the magic. I wasn't like really interested, and then I was just kind of watching because I had to, Tiki, and that really hurt me.
Oh man, I know. I had kind of
And
the
again,
same
after that
feeling.
long wait, and Tiki, you know me, I've gone on about how the value of a long wait with of course.
Yep.
With of course a 7 year long wait,
This
which
is a dark day, Dragon. This is not the podcast I want to do tonight.
no, I just it's honestly I was thinking about putting a few of the episodes off because just not putting them off and throwing another pies. I was just like thinking about like delaying things to the proceedings
Uh-huh.
tonight because again I was like I have other things to do. I mean I'm making time for this at the same time. Basically I was gonna like try to save it to the last half of it for the last minute. It's like okay, well
Right.
again
I
because I'm
get you.
put on YouTube in pieces. Again, I'm gonna call Cartoon Network out on that. Again, now it's been pretty much the only way to watch it now.
Yep. Yep.
It's also let me rant on Cartoon Network just for a brief
All right.
millisecond. I
I
just want
still haven't talked about the actual episodes yet, but go ahead.
this millisecond here is that on the Cartoon Network website you can barely watch them even when they're on the website itself.
Yep, because the Cartoon Network website is basically a bunch of clips.
That's what I'm saying. It's like every time, like even I wanted to even Cartoon Network my business. When I tried to do that, it's like again, like okay, I'll go to the episode. I'll watch it with commercials. I don't care. I like the show. And I'm about to watch. It's like, well, where's the episode? Why can't I watch the full episode, all the full new episodes? It's like give me clips. Screw your clips.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, Dragon. That's the real head scratcher about it to me. Like in terms of business decisions, I feel like Cartoon Network is like they're trying to be ahead of the game because I literally think they're kind of abandoning ship on the actual channel with the infamous, just all they air is Teen Titans Go. I mean, I really think they're kind of jumping ship from the actual channel and trying to focus more online. The problem is that if they're really trying to build an online uh you know an online presence, it's not really working. They're not doing a good job of it on a pretty fundamental, basic level.
All right, so back. I guess getting back on point, should we just start to dive into them?
Let's do it. Let's just rip off the band-aids one by one, I guess.
All right, let's start with Dewey Wins.
So, Dragon, here's my problem with this episode in a nutshell, all right? This is just like, it's another episode where Steven is just blindly helping someone who doesn't necessarily deserve the help for no real good reason. And those kind of episodes just bother me. It's just like, I feel like this show should be past that at this point. It's the exact same reason we hated Onion Gang.
Tiki, what's funny? I kind of see where you're coming from on that, but I don't think it was nearly as.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's not nearly as bad as Onion Gang. No, don't get me wrong. It's
I mean,
better than Onion.
Now that you say it, Tiki, when you say it like that, the whole Stephen Blind, the old device of Stephen blindly following someone.
I'm just saying that's what I got most of the episode. I definitely felt that. I was like, okay, I get that Stephen blames himself for Dewey being in this situation, but I mean, let's face it, Mayor Dewey is not a character who is built up to have any sort of sympathy at all. Like Mayor Dewey, out of all the characters, is kind of the one who's the least sympathetic without being an outright villain. You know what I mean?
I see that point, Tiki, but here's the thing. So with the whole with Stephen the whole Stephen plot device, I gotta tell you now now you bring up, I absolutely see it, but I didn't really feel it while I was watching the episode, because here's what I appreciate about this episode, the reason why I guess I liked it along with the other one in the bunch, is that I did feel a little sympathy for Dewey, mainly because I really, in the writing for this, and I did appreciate kind of the political undertones of this. When I say that, I'm as purely just as existing within the episode. I mean, I like just the simple message of, it's reacting to constant, it's reacting to negativity, and just, it's like, here's, again, there's some subtle context for kind of the way the world's going, but again, mainly it's just the whole, how a political figure kind of deals with negativity by the public, and in the end, Dewey, again, he does the, he does, he does the right thing in that. Okay, yeah, Nana, she's the person for the job. He kind of does the right thing and kind of he kind of spells out in a way the message to Steven, which again you kind of see coming a mile away when that scene's getting started.
And that was my problem with it, Dragon. It's not that it was a bad message. It's just that the whole thing kind of felt very contrived. Like, all right, this is a message episode. This is like, let's just hold the audience's hand through the message that Steven has to learn.
I mean, yeah, they also had like a couple decent gags, like the whole, like, I love the Dewey's great sign. I love that gag.
Honestly, my favorite gag in the whole episode, which to me tells you something about how much I like the episode, is the fact that Nana is talking on a Nana phone.
That's great. I mean, she would,
I got a chuckle out of that, and that's about the fucking most I got out of this whole episode.
Well, that's the thing, T. While it was a message, I do kind of, again, I kind of respect it for kind of taking just addressing addressing politics in a smart way. I kind of like that. I mean, again, it was a simple way, but it was like it wasn't pointed. It was a classy way to kind of approach politics. So I really appreciate it. And also we addressed the whole Lars is missing thing. Of course, we begin Sadie's reaction to Lars in space. And again, we addressed like Lars's family. I also learned
I felt so bad for his parents and like the brief shots we get of them.
And we do get Lars's last name. I don't know if you ever had that, but it sounds vaguely like another name we love, but it's just the actuality. The name is Lars Barriga.
Oh man, I didn't even realize the similarities, but yes.
Sounds vague. It kind of makes me like Lars slightly more, I gotta tell you.
Oh man.
It's not all by a lot, it's just very, very slightly. It kind of makes me like him just slightly more.
All right.
Anyway, so again, on the whole, again, I appreciate what the episode's doing. Just again, it could be punched up, but I don't think again it wasn't the worst start, but it was definitely,
So let me ask you this: this has kind of been a point of contention for fans. Do you think that Connie's reaction is like warranted?
Here's the thing. I don't mind the beginning. When we put this arc into play, I don't mind that because that kind of makes sense. She's got some unresolved feelings about Steven coming back, and the fact that, again, her whole job, my real trouble is that we really didn't address this, if not early enough. The whole, Connie had a job to protect Steven, and she wasn't there to do. That's why she's mad at Steven. We don't really touch on that at all. I mean, that was, that's what she trained with Pearl for, and of course, they're a team. They are a fusion, which means they have a very, tight relationship. And in this case, it's. Just the fact, I don't mind starting that. I mean, where we start, I get where Connie's coming from, but I think how she executes things, I have a huge problem with it. How the story continues post this episode.
Okay, we'll get into that.
I mean, I don't mind the idea. I just think we drag it on way too long, and it reflects badly on Connie. That's a big problem I have. It reflects bad on Connie.
Yeah, I mean, I will say once we get to the last episode, like the explanation for it is like it's not the greatest, but it's at least like, all right, that makes sense. So,
yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Jesus, who would have thought that out of Justice League and Steven Universe would be the bigger disappointment?
I tell you, it's so trippy.
I know, Dragon. This honestly might be one of the most surreal podcasts I've ever recorded, Dragon. Just because of like the state of this show the last time we did a podcast about it versus the state of this show now. This is weird. The whole thing is weird.
Well, we could go on a surrealist tangent, but we're not going to. So, I got I got the most surreal tangent ever. It's a memory of a surrealist moment, but no.
Oh, God. Okay. All right, so next episode, Dragon.
Yeah.
All right, next episode is Gem Cajun.
No, the next episode is Raising the Barn.
Oh, okay. My bad. Next episode is Raising the Barn. All right. Okay, so Dragon, I gotta say, out of all the episodes, I thought this one, it had some decent stuff going for it.
I mean, Lapis is great, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just like, again, you can see it coming from a mile away. However, they do throw a plot twist at the end. I did appreciate the twist at the end.
Uh-huh.
You know, the whole, basically, it didn't turn out the way, you know, Peridot kind of calling the episode on, like, yeah, it didn't turn out exactly I thought it was going to turn out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought out of all the episodes, like, I think this episode didn't quite reach the emotional potential that it could have had, but I don't, like, I think the one thing that this episode kind of, I think it wasted a little too much time with Pumpkin.
How dare you?
I'm not saying that Pumpkin's not adorable. I'm just saying it's like, all right, you know, it's like we've got good plot with, like, okay, you know, it makes sense that Lapis would want to flee from Earth. All right, that's what the episode's all about, you know, is like Lapis wants to flee from Earth. Peridot is resistant to the idea. I like all that. I just think, like, throwing in the random, like, oh no, Pumpkin's gone missing. Like, I get that we have to have that to, you know, to give them a little bit more time, but it just, I don't know. I know it's a small nitpick, but, Greg, let me tell you what I do like about this episode. And it's, of course, like the main thing that this show gets praised for, which is the kind of the social commentary in this episode. Because I very much feel like this is a great kind of like breakdown of a relationship, much in the same way that, you know, that Connie and Steven are going through turmoil. Lapis and Peridot are also kind of going through that same turmoil, but on a much bigger level, even.
Yeah, we play them very much kind of like Steven's aunts in a way. We have to understand that's kind of how we kind of approach. Like they're the aunts who live on the farm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, on that level, I appreciated it quite a bit, but
I mean, I like. Let me say this: I think I think probably the MVP of this whole Steven bomb would be probably Peridot. I mean, I think we did the most with Peridot.
Yeah, she was good throughout the whole thing. I mean, she's pretty consistent.
I'm just saying, putting her in this position where one, we do sort of a full circle thing where we see how far Peridot's come along. You know, she's seeing beauty in the earth, but even before that, I'm saying she's taking an extended walk with Steven, where she's kind of going full circle. She's back at the bathroom at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, so the main thing with Lapis, one of the great things with Lapis in this episode, you know, Lapis's trauma is shining through, and she's very dramatically and really awesome because says, I will not be part of another war. Like, I will not be caught in the middle of another war.
Which is what I appreciate about the episode. I appreciate how, essentially what this episode's saying is that, like, as harmonious as relationships might be from time to time, you can't hide past trauma. Like, past trauma is always going to play a role. You know what I mean? Past traumas always going to come into the picture and always going to be a complication, and it's always going to be something that you're going to have to work through.
And to connect what you were saying about the whole Connie Steven parallel, and against the kind of the main theme of the episode, but also kind of connects to a lot of things. Kind of the emotional honesty in a partnership. That's very much what's the focus of this episode. Kind of emotional honesty and kind of sacrifice for another person.
Ironically enough, Dragon, I think this episode did the whole like emotional honesty thing a lot better than the Connie and Steven of it all.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, it's definitely did it there. But you see what I'm saying? Like the whole kind of sacrificial parallel there, I think.
Yeah, and I think the reason it works better here is because, like really, I think the Connie stuff, like, it makes sense in context. I think the problem is we haven't really spent enough time exploring the dynamic of Connie and Steven being, well, I don't know. I guess we have explored it quite a bit, but I don't know. I guess I just feel like in the moment, it kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of felt like an afterthought a little bit.
Oh, by the way,
Whereas with Peridot and Lapis, like Peridot and Lapis for the longest time, like, yeah, they're, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm making a good point with this.
I'm sorry, real quick, I just want to point out something that occurred to me while I was going through the episodes by this episode, then I continued for the rest of them. There was a running trend I think that did not help the Stephen Bomb. A lot of down endings, a lot of depressing ends these episodes.
I think that's definitely like intentional from an artistic point of view, but yeah, I mean it's
I mean, some of them just felt like, I mean, it just kind of dawns on you, wow, we're just really going. I get there's the artistic kind of depressing, and these just felt like, man, they're just kind of randomly, kind of repetitively depressing here.
almost kind of just like randomly mean spirited.
Not mean spirited, just like, I mean, like, it just felt like kind of odd choice. It just felt like, usually we have like more of a, one of them is vaguely hopeful, but again, someone has kind of lost something, but everyone's just kind of losing something. It's like, we're not having like any. It's like, I understand like not having a happy ending every time. It's like consistently not having a happy ending though. It's like the old joke from the Avatar, the Last Airbender series, where they joke they love their down endings. They do. I mean, the showrunners themselves, they love having depressing endings. They make jokes about commentary all the time. It's it's kind of dawned on me like, wow, a lot of sad endings.
But you know what? At least this ending, it's like it's sad, but it's also very much very impactful. Like very like in terms of the plot. Like I have no idea when we're gonna see Lapis again. You know what I mean?
I can't wait for her. I know her reentry is going to be big. If she's like, I'm not going to take any part in this war, she's probably going to like take out one of the diamonds or help take out one of the diamonds or something. It's going to be awesome.
Right, but I'm saying like I don't know if we'll see her until like the end of the season or near the end of the season.
Yeah, you're right about that. But the other thing about Lapis too, just the spectacle of the episode was cool too. Just again, like her lifting the barn.
Mm-hmm.
So, raising the barn, if you will.
Also, Dragon, I'm pretty sure that Gemcation comes before this episode.
Well, Tiki, the way it was laid out to me, it was Uwin's then raising the barn, then Gemification. I'm just saying that's the way, like, it was. But then again, this whole not being on not being on Cartoon Network, I think the episodes could have been screwed around with. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying the episode, like Back to the Kindergarten should lead right into this one, right? Not Gemcation.
Well, no, Tiki. She has to be in the bathroom before the kindergarten, so this episode has to come before that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But oh my god,
this comes before that.
If you say so, Dragon. But I'm literally looking at the Wikipedia right now, and it says that Gemcation is the second episode in this arc.
Well, Gemcation. I'm just talking about you're talking about the kindergarten just now. I mean, this comes before kindergarten.
Yes, this comes before kindergarten, but I'm saying like.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. I mean, Gemcation could come before this. I'm just saying the way I saw it was the other way around. Either or, I'm unclear. It's well, I mean, I get what you're saying now. I'm just saying that when I was watching it, this is the order it was laid out, and it could have been wrong. So you're very possibly right.
All right. Well.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it starts off with Steven still anticipating a phone call, so you can imagine why it's hard to tell.
Right.
Not you. I'm just yelling at the episode here. You can imagine why it's hard to tell.
I really wish there were more to say about these episodes individually. I mean,
you see what I'm saying, though, right? I mean, again, you could place this episode anywhere before that one episode, because again, it's like Steven's waiting for a phone call a lot.
No, I get you. I get what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else to say about raising the barn? I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Well, they had onions stand, and I wrote my notes. No! Let's see. I mean, again, it's a sad goodbye with Lapis. I mean, that's kind of the whole.
Well, like I said, I like how impactful it is. It does feel like a big moment in the plot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, just the spectacle of that big exodus of taking the barn with her. It's really.
Was that really necessary?
You mean taking the barn with her?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary, but it was cool looking though.
Fair enough.
Because again, she didn't really. Well, then I don't know how much she. Yeah, I know she likes the barn, but then again, she's kind of writing off Pumpkin. But again, she wanted to take.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, if you're gonna leave, like at least leave Peridot with the barn. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, again, it's the thing we kind of touch on, I guess, the last important thing is, you of course see in Peridot, she's inventing her frustration through things, which of course is going to track with her stuff here. Parrot's kind of venting her feelings of Lapis wanting to leave through through other stuff, and of course it's kind of addressing the whole like, well, that didn't turn out at all like I thought it would. You're supposed to, you're my please and stay. Okay, well that's reasonable.
And I will say, Dragon, the ending of this episode, yeah, it might be depressing, but I think it is a very impactful note. It's like the whole just like, what do we do? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to literally, Dragon, I do think you're right. You could literally switch these episodes around and it wouldn't really make a difference. Gymcation. So this was a good one on an emotional level, I thought. I mean, at the very least, wait, actually, Dragon, I think you're right about this being the third episode, because I think one of my problems I had with the arc is that you don't see the main crystal gems until this episode. And I was like, it felt good when we actually saw them. So
you know what bugs me about this one, T? This one had a solid start, and there was a big kind of like, there was a middle finger Pearl moment for me in this episode that really bugged me. It's like, oh come on. Because again, I was on the edge of my seat. Oh, we're gonna do Pearl stuff. Yes, been waiting so long. And then they build her up and she's doing her Pearl thing, and then of course nothing.
Yep.
That really chapped me, Tiki. That really. Ooh, wasn't happy with that. Anyway, well, I'm just saying, again, had me kind of scene, because again, literally, Tiki, we have a scene where Pearl and should we build to this, or should I just fire?
No, go into it by all means. Just if that's where you want to go, just go.
I'm just saying, Pearl's about to reveal something really big. I didn't say something monumental. It's an emotional scene. Again, Pearl's getting all random. I get it's a joke, but the fact that this whole Steven bomb, I'm looking for something to grab onto here, and if any character is going to do it for me, Tiki, it's going to be Pearl. And she's starting, and again, she has me. It's like, it's like, Stephen, there's something I need to tell you. I've been afraid to tell you. And, it's something really big. And, of course, then Stephen just kind of comes out and says, I'm afraid that Connie hates me. Wait, what? And then again, like, let Pearl finish.
Yeah, I didn't mind it nearly as much as you did, Dragon. I mean, maybe that's just because you're I love Pearl too, but you're very, very passionate about your Pearl love. For me, I don't know. To tell you the truth, this episode, it wasn't great, but I do like the way this episode flows with, I think it's a good Greg episode.
Here's the thing. Greg wasn't bad, but we didn't measure up the other Greg Universe stuff, really. It was just, didn't feel like.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this conversation's a drag.
I'm sorry. Again, Greg was just more part of the course. It was just more.
I can't believe I'm the one who's trying to be positive in this situation. This really feels like a role reversal here.
Tiki, this is what it feels like.
I guess so. I guess now I know, right?
Hey, I'm owed a card during the anniversary. This is why I'm owed a card.
Oh God. No, Dragon, the thing that I liked with Greg, maybe it's just like the moment that I thought was really, really genuine is, like, well, I might not know a lot about this crystal gem stuff, but I know about this. Like, I thought this episode built up to that moment really well. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've personally gone through a situation a lot like Steven's going through right now in this episode with, I thought this episode really cut pretty deep with what it's like to be waiting around on the phone, just constantly hoping to God that your phone vibrates with a text message, the disappointment of getting a text message and then seeing that it's from someone who you're completely not interested in talking to. By the way, good use of Ronaldo this episode, I thought. One of the few times I'll say that it was a good use of Ronaldo.
I mean, I'll meet you.
Steven!
I mean, I like the twist. Like, I love the reveal of the again where the episode was starting to get me towards the end. I was starting to become interested again, where it was kind of this whole hey, Stuball, we don't get any service out here. That's when the Greg stuff was starting to hit me. Okay, yeah, it's a little uplifting. And then again, it just hit me at the end like, oh man, another depressing ending. What's going on here?
No, no, no. I didn't see the episode as depressing. I really didn't because I don't know, Dragon. I actually thought the episode was quite satisfying with yeah, that's real world that there are going to be moments where
I mean, Steven he was really down. He was a big downer for. Yes.
no, I'm sorry. There
Um,
are going to be moments with God, I'm sorry. I lost my train of
with
thought.
Greg?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
There are moments with Greg.
I'm sorry. I lost my train. Someone came in and interrupted me, man. I'm sorry,
No
okay?
problem. No problem. It's fine. But you want me to take over then?
Yeah, please, please.
I'll tell you this, Tiki. It's like Steven for me. It was just the whole. Again, I guess the best way of kind of, if I had to pare it down to the one thing that kind of embodied kind of the magic we're using given the show. I don't know. Steven just felt out of character this whole bomb for me. And like this episode, I think is kind of the big example of it for me. Where Steven, like, he's disinterested because he's glued to the phone. I mean, I get that he's waiting for the text. I get that he's waiting, but it doesn't feel. It doesn't.
Dragon, like I said, as someone who's recently been through this, that's exactly what it feels like, and I feel like this episode nailed that. So I thought it was really on point, personally. I don't know. I guess that's a big disconnect we're having.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It just doesn't really feel like what we usually are. Would see again. I know it's different. I guess it's hard.
No,
It's
but
hard
here's
for me
the thing: Steven's growing up. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's kind of one of the points of this arc. I thought maybe that's why this arc resonated with me. Like, even though I don't think it's great, I think we can agree I'm slightly more positive on it than you are.
I just felt like Steven was like he was kind of little low on energy. I guess I don't know.
But that's what happens, Dragon. That's exactly what happens. Like, you get fixated. Your whole world revolves around whether or not that phone's going to vibrate. And like I said, this episode, it illustrates that in a really realistic, kind of cutting way, I thought. And anyways, I'm sorry. Back to the point I was trying to make.
Go on.
I got kind of rudely interrupted by it, but I
Right.
digress.
What do you got?
Not by you. Not by you. I want to stress that. You weren't the one who was interrupting. But
Okay.
so the point I was trying to make is, like, you know, even when it seems like there's hope, like, you're gonna have moments like that, you know, where it seems like, oh wait, okay, this is it. Like, I've been looking at this all wrong, and then like, oh wait, no, it's still just exactly the same. That's just true to life for me, Dragon. That's just kind of how it is. And for me, the moment at the end of the episode with Steven and the gems, you know, like looking out at the stars, like the whole got room for 3 more always, you know, that got to me. You can't tell me that. I mean, it's not exactly happy, but it's definitely bittersweet in a good way, I thought. I mean, it was depressing by any means.
I mean, look, I'll say this. I'm just saying, just like, I don't mean like the moment. The moment itself played like, you know, I'll give Greg Universe this, of course. I mean, the moment with Greg at the end there, like, he's there for Steven. I mean, I appreciated that moment. I mean, I don't mean like it went on. It didn't go out on like a depressing note, but I'm just saying that it's like another kind of, it's an ending where, like, it's not a happy ending, is what I'm saying. It's another less than happy ending.
Does every episode have to be a happy ending, though? I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying every episode has to. I'm just saying consistently. I'd say it's kind of an anomaly. We haven't had like this many in a row.
I don't know, Dragon. I feel like we're having a disconnect here because I just thought that was kind of the nature of this arc.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Again, that's the only logic I can find for it. Obviously it's intentional. So yeah, they're trying to stress that. So I get that. But also, hit a bit of levity, hit a bit of fun though with the opening. One, of course, I love we hit the kid. Greg still has 9 million, so he can definitely get some new hoses. And I love the dish gag, you know, where Steven, you know, he's cleaning the dish with, you know, the dish soap within the within the bottle.
Also, I love the idea. I love that Greg is thinking about spending his money on travel instead of stuff, because that's exactly what I would do if I had money.
That's not all what I would do with money.
What?
That's not all what I would do with money, but good for you.
I mean, like, that's not all I would do with money either, but, like, I mean, yeah, I'd invest, but I mean, come on, Drake, there's a lot of places I want to go to in my life.
Oh, me
Anyways,
too.
so.
Anyway, of course, I think the funniest gag, though, I'm going to hit upon it, the funniest gag for me, groceries.
Right, right.
You know, he comes bringing groceries, and Garnet has, like, the groceries hat on.
Yep.
And, you know, she's, like, reading lines from a play, you know, it's just like, she's just, you know, kind of going through the lines.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I kind of connect with Steven's thing a bit because, you know, I had a vacation condo for a while. So, I mean, I kind of like the whole, like, the summer home. So, it kind of, yeah, basically when they go to the summer home, they have, like, all the limitations, like all the stuff they can.
I like that too. I remember renting a cabin and having that same sort of experience. Like, it sounds like it's going to be awesome, but then when you get there, it's like, oh, this is decidedly not awesome.
So I didn't connect to that a little. So that was, you know,
okay.
Was there.
All right. Good stuff.
Right.
Okay, let's get to back to the kindergarten. And Dragon, I gotta say, usually I love kindergarten episodes, but I thought this was by far the weakest of the bunch.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Again, it's not that it's an actively bad episode or anything. I thought that fuck all happened.
Yes, Tiki. I love. Yeah, technically, yeah. It's just, that's exactly what happens. I'm trying to refute it, but no, you're right.
It's literally just they go to they go to the kindergarten, they see a flower, and then they plant a bunch of flowers, but they all die, and then they come back, and then they fight a gem, and that's it. It's literally like perhaps one of the most uneventful episodes I've ever seen of this show, honestly.
I'll tell you this, Tiki, this episode, because again, it's not this as fun.
Conversation.
Tiki, again, I'm not saying it's not the episode, but I'm just saying because of this break. The break has been so long. I've forgotten what we call the gem monsters.
Clusters?
Yeah, you're okay. There you go. I guess cluster. Yeah, gem clusters. I guess that's it. Because I've been saying it's been that long. That bugged me while I was watching the episode. Like, you know, what the heck do we call this flower thing? Because I know it has the arm and everything. It's like gem monster, but again, gem cluster.
So I guess the best thing I can say about this episode is sad Peridot.
Again, Peridot, I will give her that. I mean, she's the best part of the episode there, and like she's venting, you know, or kind of her regret or feelings there for
like this episode. Do we really need a whole episode focused on this? Like,
I mean, here's what had me.
Nothing else.
The thing that interested me, of course, it went nowhere, but the thing that interested me was the farming payoff. The idea, okay, I mean, there was a really great line. There was a great heavy realization in a line that Peridot had saying, I used to think that life ended here. That life began here and actually life ends here in the kindergarten. I love that idea, Tiki. I love that idea. And then, of course, Peridot. I love the concept of this one. I love that Peridot's trying to grow life in the kindergarten, like, you know, the gems were grown there. And, of course, you know, her farming background being on the farm is paying off. It would seem, but then of course it then just kind of boils down to nothing. It's like it's a fistful of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Jackie Earle Haley from the.
Even the thing about like the fucking plant growing on kindergarten was a goddamn misdirect.
Yeah, and again, it was really a waste of smoky quartz. I'm gonna say it was a real big waste of smoke. And everyone loves smoky quartz.
Man, this conversation is just depressing.
I told you. Jay, think about it. It's 4 episodes in a row and we're feeling like this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The next one, however, is not depressing.
I mean, do we really just want to move on? There's literally like not much to say about the kindergarten episode at all, really. Like, I like Peridot's sad face. Okay, I will say this. I like how we call back to On the Road, a much better episode with the whole traveling via boxcar. I like that. I like that, you know, they're kind of like, they make a tradition about going to the kindergarten via boxcar. I like that. That was a small detail I liked.
I gotta tell you, I think the crystal gems are. No, I don't mean I'm gonna bring it down if I say it. Never mind. I'm gonna keep bringing things
No,
down.
no, just say it. The crystal gems were completely wasted. They were
Yeah,
like fucking tissue paper. They were just thrown away.
they're so phoned in. It's like I can imagine the brightness conversation will lead you on kind of a fun little visual adventure here. Imagine this, okay? The crystal gems. Let's just picture this. Like instead of again, I imagine Estelle would have a great time coming and recording. This is for the sake of imagination. Let's just say crystal gems played themselves. So they're coming in and basically they're recording their own lines. It's the animation.
Oh God.
So you
God.
basically imagine this: like Pearl comes in, she's got her coffee, it's just like, oh, what are we doing today? And
Can I just stop you? I love how in this hypothetical, it's like the crystal gems actually exist and they're recording lines for a cartoon of themselves.
Yep.
So like we're talking like live action Pearl.
Yep, and of course we know Claire.
Oh God. Yes. Oh God.
She comes in, she's got coffee, she's got sunglasses on, she's wearing like a nice coat. She's very well dressed. Again, she lives kind of a highfalutin lifestyle. Again, she's done well for herself. She's had some substantial roles. She's kind of gone up. Anyway, the point is, she walks in and says, "Oh, hello, Rebecca. Darling? What are we doing today?" She's looking at the pages, and she doesn't want to hurt Rebecca's feelings. Like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, let's get started. And this, basically, just kind of phoning in. Okay, same time next week. See you, love. Goodbye.
Yep, pretty much.
That's pretty much what we're dealing with. Your folks, just the gems. And literally, we had. I think the best representation of this is Garnet in the previous, in gemification, because literally she reads just like a bland line reading.
Yeah.
And again, believe me,
that was literally like the one bit we got from Garnet in 6 episodes. 6 episodes.
We do two things like Garnet. We have the funny grocery gag, the line, and the kind of the line reading gag. Which, by the way, when I say that again, I don't mean Estelle is underperforming. I just mean again that's the gag. Garnet would be.
Of course, yeah.
And secondly, again, the other scenes is basically Garnet like reaffirms what we already know about the whole pink diamond thing. And again, in Tiki. It's very much like that Pearl letdown, where again we're having like a cool animated sequence about, oh god, we might kind of see the whole pink diamond affair, and then nope. So maddening.
Do you have a fucking concrete wall I can bash my head into?
Now I'm thinking of a certain Netflix show, but
oh god.
I say now I'm thinking concrete. You know what I'm.
Yes.
Anyway, we should probably move on to a highlight.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Unless you want to torture yourself more with the kindergarten, but
Again, I can't believe that a kindergarten episode is like by far the weakest of the Steven Bomb.
I mean, if I have to look for something, it's like, hey, Peridot, she knows her stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
She can find the iron deposit again. Peridot, yeah.
Oh god. Okay, Sadie Killer.
Sadie Killer.
Again, even this one's not fantastic. Like this one, like it doesn't even begin to reach the heights of something like Mr. Greg. You know what I mean? It's like, oh god. Like, Dragon, remember when we used to say, like, well, that wasn't Mr. Greg, but it was still great.
Yeah, I do remember those days. Pearl in a top hat and coat. Oh gosh.
Oh god.
Oh, she was so happy.
So yeah, Sadie Killer. It is like I like these Sadie episodes, Dragon. That's what I'll say. I don't love the Sadie episodes, but I like them quite a bit. I feel like this is a good sequel to Sadie's Song. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and of course we have our likable, our good kids, our good teens. The good teens, we have them.
I believe they're just officially called the cool kids.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been that long, folks. Again, it's
bugging
me. I hate forgetting things like that. It's killing me.
Oh man, the show. Oh god,
this poor show. It's like, oh god, it's like our baby's been in a car accident. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, I know. God,
it's like Cartoon Network. It's like, okay, Okay, the babysitter, our little kind of gem bejeweled series here. Cartoon Network, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna make sure you call us, you the emergency numbers. We're going out. We're basically it's like we're going to like the hay on a weekend, if you will. And then meanwhile, just walking down the street and just kind of, oh man, I'm sorry, I was just about to make a hugely morbid joke. Should I continue or should I stop?
Sure, continue. I'm curious to see where this goes.
It's like going down the street, and just kind of randomly, just basically the babysitter of Cartoon Network in question just kind of snaps and grabs the baby and just kind of like tosses it casually like a baby in the traffic. Then acts horrified.
Christ. Wow. Okay.
I tried to stop myself.
This is what this show has reduced us to, folks.
Folks, it's that maddening, it's that random, and it's that heartbreaking. It's really, again, and it's not, and the tragedy, the perplexing kind of odd infinitum of tragedy here, folks, is that it's not bad, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going around and around. Since the infinitum here is, it's going to keep going around and around. That it's not bad, but it's just I don't care. And that's what's haunting about it.
Yeah, which is honestly like it's
almost worse.
Even worse than being bad, in my opinion.
At least we can rant about Onion, but in this case, it's like it's.
Because I mean, at least an episode like Rock Naldo or Onion Gang, we were passionate about. You know what I mean? Like we were passionate in like the opposite direction, but at least we were passionate.
Well, getting back to Sadie, because again, those feelings, again, I don't really direct purely towards Sadie Killer, because again, Sadie Killer is kind of the highlight. Again, bear in mind, out of the rest we've been going through, a highlight where basically have kind of a.
But it's literally just a highlight because it's a nice, pleasant, unoffensive episode.
Yeah, I do like the dog nut. I mean, I think it's been established before the dog nut's still fun.
I'm sorry, what? The what?
The dog nut. Remember the hot dog donut?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just play again. It's been so long, I completely forgot that's been established already. But it's like, hey, it's a dog nut.
Well, I completely forgot it was established. So there you go.
And that's inventive. It's kind of a cool looking design.
Right.
Anyway, it's basically Steven taking part in a band, and again, here's where just to talk about the good stuff of the episode here, because the standout stuff. I guess the fact that Sadie, you're right, and that's a sequel to Sadie's song, and that Sadie in this case, she's very much kind of a. It examines the one of the basically. I guess Sadie and Parrot are kind of would be the collective the MVPs of the the Stephen Bond, because Sadie, we have she's lost Lars, and she's working alone because one, she has kind of the emotional loss there, and secondly she has the the free time loss because she's taken over a shift. And I love how we acknowledge. I mean, that's the thing I gotta give this whole thing credit for, is that we do have the the fact that the donut place is so short staffed. They only have one other person working. There's no other employees that come on different days. It's all Sadie taking on the workload.
They really need to fucking put a help wanted sign in the window. Seriously.
Exactly. The last person who was technically been on the payroll, the last two people who have been on the payroll, actually they weren't even paid. Well, one of them was paid. Was Mr. Smiley and Steven. This Mr. Smiley, he did the video, and then and Steven. And he just kind of, out of the goodness of his heart, he kind of helped out. But I mean, I like Sadie kind of being the social butterfly, and she's kind of coming out of her shell a little bit. She's having people over, and they kind of.
Sadie is to me, probably the most relatable character on the whole show.
I'll give you that. Sadie's never.
They play her so realistically. She's such a realistic teenager character. You know what I mean?
Sadie's never disappointed. That's something we always got to give her. We always got to. I did relate to a gag in this episode very much. So more than the condo. Was that she's one of our other napkins. When Steven's he's taking the napkins. Tiki, I steal so many napkins.
Dragon, at home, it's funny, Dragon. At home, I always whenever I go to eat something, I always take more napkins than I need. Yep. So I always end up with a stockpile of napkins in my room.
It's just I like Tiki. We're so simpatico in this matter here about the napkins. But yes, it's just Tiki. I like.
Tune in to the Steven Universe podcast for thrilling napkin discussions.
It's just, I just love the. I like the security of the napkin. I like the safety. I like the napkin safety net. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Anyway, just the whole horror, kind of like the horror songs we're getting from Sadie here, kind of the horror theme. That's all
Okay,
nice.
I will say The Working Dead is a fucking fantastic song.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, like really, just I love the composition of it, like kind of like the horror element of it. I like how this episode is a lot about how they're like finding their sound, and honestly, Dragon, this would have fit kind of well as an unconventional Halloween episode to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
To a certain extent, I do love the visual of the jelly donut.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a possible, again, I doubt with the timing of it all, but there is possibly a Stranger Things reference in this episode with Sadie's new look.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know, again, from the most infamous episode, but still.
Oh, God.
I mean, importantly, in the end, Sadie does come along in a big way, that we do have a big kind of change in status quo, in the microcosm of it all, with Sadie.
Yeah, and I do like how, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag, Dragon, and I feel like this is something that the show has never really known how to get a grasp on. It's always been like one of the sticking points of the show is like it never knows how to balance the Beach City characters with the Crystal Gems. You know what I mean? Because I like how we're getting more development on the Beach City characters. I like that Sadie's storyline is picking up. I want to see more of her and the cool kids. But the only problem is I can't see how episodes with her and the cool kids are going to translate to episodes with the Crystal Gems. You know what I mean? It's always going to be a trade-off. So that's just a weird thing. It's like, yeah, this episode is a good kind of plot progression for the Beach City storyline, but then as we keep saying, like kind of the big problem with this storyline in general is the fact that the Crystal Gems are basically kind of like walk-on roles in this 6-episode arc in the grand scheme. So,
yeah, but again, Sadie quitting her job. I'm interested to see Lars's reaction to that, because, yeah, I mean, Lars. The big question is if Lars is going to permanently be the way that he is where we last left him. Again, the last interesting Stephen Baum. When with this new look and everything. So I mean, I like that we're not shying away from changing the status quo. But,
sure.
We're so used to her in the donut shop, and that means, hey, maybe get some new characters working in the donut shop. That could be kind of cool,
Uh-huh.
As long as it's anyone but Onion,
I'm going to make a prediction.
Ronaldo?
No, Dewey.
Oh, that'd be kind of nice. I like
job.
I mean, I like Merritt. I like Dewey. I like him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him. I can give him more to do. Because he was always like, always. I don't know. I don't mean just. Sorry, going through this episode kind of remind me. With Dewey, we do have like kind of fun, kind of not satirical, but kind of fun, kind of silly politics with Mayor Dewey. It's kind of fun when we do that sort of stuff. In this case, we just have him be maybe like really passionate about the donuts, or like overzealous. They kind of impressed with the donuts. I don't know. That could be fun.
Right.
Basically, it's like, I was a lousy mayor, but I'm going to be the best donut salesman ever.
Yeah, we'll see.
Donut of a salesman, not death of a salesman. Donut of a salesman. Anyway.
Okay, shall we move on to the last one then?
Please.
Okay, so folks, what a way to end the disappointing run than with a freaking Kevin episode.
Kevin.
And I will say, I don't know how you feel about this one, Dragon. I didn't think it was bad. I thought this was a decent episode to end out on, honestly.
I'm mixed on it. I appreciate elements of it. Like, again, I'm pleasantly surprised by how well the whole, Kevin-Steven team-up of it worked.
It's like the first time that Kevin was actually, like, a humanized character.
Yeah, so I mean, I appreciated that. Yeah, a couple gags here. Like, I love the off-screen Derek gag. I like that. That was really funny.
Right.
Derek's off-screen with props, and it's like, "Hey, Derek, give me your jacket." It's like, yeah, we don't see Derek, but we know he has it. He has a jacket. That's kind of fun. I mean, again, just my big problem is basically all my problems with Connie are in this episode. That's why I'm really mixed on it. My big problem with Connie is one, I will say, is I do love Connie's new design. I think it looks great.
It's funny you mentioned that because I honestly kind of got more of an 11 vibe from her new design than Sadie's new design.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't really look at it that way. I mean, I don't know. I gotta look at it again. But, you might be on side. I kind of concede from my remembering of it. But I don't know. I just like the it looks all nice and presentable. Yeah, nice.
I don't know, Drake. Again, I feel like the big disconnect you and I are having, and which is why I feel like I like this arc slightly more than you did, even though I'm not wowed by it, is I did kind of like I have had moments in my life that are exactly like this, where it's like, you haven't talked to someone in a long time. Although, granted, I will say that the passage of time in the 6 episode arc was really big. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, you're right about that because I want to say at some point they nailed down like I could be thinking of another thing entirely, Tiki, but I want to say it was like 3 weeks. Again, this whole thing's been kind of draining.
But anyways, what I'm saying is like there's definitely periods in my life where it's like you go so long without seeing someone, then you see someone again, and it's like you don't even know, like you have no idea how to even respond to that situation. Like I feel like this episode put Steven in that situation in a very real world way, and I like that about it.
All right. Well, I mean, I like how Connie and Steven spy each other, across the party. I mean, I kind of like the device that gets them at the party. So, I mean, on that level, I like it. But again, what's really bothering me, I mean, I know they address it, T. I know they address it. But what's bugging me is, I mean, the explanation feels very last minute. It feels like, okay, we're covering our bases last minute here. That doesn't feel natural. Like, we're basically, I'm thinking the whole episode before we get to that point. What gives, Connie? Like, what the heck? You're like, why this whole again? He's done all these, like, again, we have a whole episode dedicated to him, like, waiting with bated breath, like some bazillion text and everything, and I'm just when I see Connie there, I'm like wondering, okay, well, hey, Simon Stevens going over there and talking to her, you'd think like there's still no reason why she didn't go over and talk to him. That's what's bugging me. Like, what the heck?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like it's a two-way street there.
And look, I'm being honest. I'm being brutally honest. I don't buy the explanation either. I mean, I don't buy, like, like she says she tried. She went over. Then he was at the summer vacation. That's why didn't she go before then? I mean, again, she's processing things. She's just missing like all these points. I mean, what do you think you are? You think you're American Tail? Come on.
Do you think you're American Tail? Oh God!
What I'm saying, it just
that is like the most hilariously specific insult I've ever heard you say. That's great.
I don't buy it. It's just like it's so tricky. Yeah, I like that. I love the Connie character. It's like, come on, this is again. It just felt Steven and Connie, mainly Connie. If I had to pick one out of two, felt so out of character during this whole thing. It's like, I get that she was upset. Why wouldn't she voice that to Steven?
Let me just say, Dragon, like, I don't necessarily feel comfortable commenting about this because,
I get it.
Because I could go off on like a whole tangent about how I feel about the nature of relationships these days, and I really don't want to do that.
All right. So just the point is, we're coming down on it, folks.
Suffice to say, I will agree with you. I will say that much. I agree with you that it's the explanation is a little too on point, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, I will say this with Kevin, though. With the writing on Kevin, I do like kind of how he's amping up the absurdity of, like, he's just trying to have the best party ever. I mean, that's the thing that won me over more on Kevin than I had before. Kevin was just kind of generic jerk character. But in this case,
is Kevin just a high point of this arc now?
No, it's not that topsy-turvy, but
all right.
Yeah. I mean, Tiki, the dogs and cats, they're getting hungry, but they're not eating each other. Anyway, let's. Well, again, it's kind of funny. Like, Kevin mentoring Steven does feel like the end times, very much so.
Sure, yeah.
Right. What do you think about the wrong crowd montage?
Yeah, it was okay. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it.
Yeah, it's just I will say this: one thing that started me like getting like I was inching towards the Kevin character in this episode. The thing that really got me like starting to inch towards him was the mundanity with the phone gag. I love the mundanity with the phone. Where basically because one here, I like the subtle gag here. Basically, they can't give a full number for Steven, so that's why they couldn't have him say the full number.
Right.
Kids would call that number. Anyway, so basically these things like he's putting the numbers on the phone, like, oh, your screen's so tiny. It's it's like that. That was really funny to me. Just the fact, like, hey, I'm gonna have a cool guy X, and he's like going back, okay, give me your number. He has no way of contacting this kid. Just in the end, kind of a nice reconciliation. Kevin takes a dive in the pool, and of course, a little spectacle lion exiting. Because I mean, kind of did for all intents and purposes, she's kind of a kidnapped lion, I guess. There's that too. Just took the ride with her. Yeah,
right,
he has no way.
Right. Yeah.
There's no way.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
He had no way of interdimensional travel. What gives? And plus, I think Sadie would, if you want to put her head through the main to kind of check in on what. Well, yeah, but she'd probably be freaked out though. She did, because then she'd be like in Lars's head. So yeah, that'd be trippy. Maybe that's for the best. Anyway. But yeah. So that's
it's about all she wrote.
I'm praying that's all she wrote. Yeah, that seems to be it, Tiki. It's just that I'm on fumes right now.
Oh God!
I'm on fumes with this episode, Tiki. I'm puttering along. I'm running on E, but you know what? I'm still behind the wheel though. It's just I'm just waiting to crash into a tree. Let's just
okay. So, Dragon, I will say this: in spite of all our negativity, I don't think this show is like jump the shark or anything. All right, like I'm kind of like. I'm a Walking Dead fan, like almost begrudgingly at this point, even though I do think The Walking Dead, there was a very, 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 very definitive point that I can point to and say that is exactly where the Walking Dead jumped the shark. I don't think we're there with Steven Universe. I really don't. And honestly, I think if season 5 is the last season of Steven Universe, I'm completely fine with that at this point, considering like the bizarre airing schedule and just how poorly this show's been mistreated. Like, honestly, I don't really want to see this show stretch onto a 6th season if this is going to be the show's fate. You know what I mean, Dragon?
Tiki, I mean, honestly, it's really concerning me because now, I've looked in, I kind of checked Wikipedia on it, so it says we still have like 26 episodes left. Is that right? It sounded like 25.
Okay, hold on, let me check it. I believe this is episode 10. We have 16 episodes left.
Well, no, I mean like on the grand total. I mean it's like 6.
The grand total is 26. So yeah, we have 16 left.
Right. So, I mean, like, again, I was getting a little worried because I was thinking, like, they might pull that whole, like, hey, we're going to end the season, then we're going to break into another one sort of thing. But because then this would have been a horrible note to end the season on.
Oh, God, it would have. Yes, it would have.
But, Tika, I got to tell you, I'm more afraid for Steven Universe than ever, man. I can only assume that Rebecca Sugar is basically, she's kind of, I don't want to just put all on Rebecca Sugar. I mean, the show, I guess, collectively. And I'm hoping that the show, basically they're kind of biding their time with this so they can put all the elbow grease into the big diamond and kind of come and return to Earth. The big diamond story. The big whole what possibly.
Which honestly, like that to me feels like an end of the series arc. So that's why I'm fine with season 5 being the end of the show. Because really, there's not a ton to go with this story outside of the diamonds coming to Earth. You know what I mean?
I gotta tell you though, son, if this is the last season, you know what they could do? They can make it really amped up and awesome. They could, again, we could have somewhat of a, again, I'm just gonna throw the Marvel comparison in there for simplicity's sake, but we can have kind of the kind of an Infinity War going on with kind of all the characters coming together for the big climax. Where you have Lars with kind of his battalion on the home world going on.
Right.
You have that. You have of course you get kind of Steven there kind of patching things up. Of course, you have the crystal gems and. Beyond that, of course, we have Lapis kind of coming in for like a big save, quite possibly.
You could have like the amethysts.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. We have like a big Infinity War, like basically all the Marvel characters, in this case, all the Steven Universe characters.
It'd be kind of like the Last Samurai Jack episode. I could picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That'd be. Again, that's another show that ended at 5. That was a really good season ending.
Yeah, and like I said, Dragon, just for the sake of the show, I really don't want to see this show put through the ringer again. I'd really just if Cartoon Network is going to treat it this poorly. And here's the thing, Dragon, these episodes have been in the can for months, all right? It's not like these episodes took all this time to produce. These episodes have been in the can for months. Cartoon Network is literally just chosen to not air them and to just drop them randomly onto the app in the middle of nowhere. So if this, like, end it, put it out of its misery at this point, you know, and I hope story-wise it goes out on a high note. I really do, but that's about all we can hope for at this point. I hate to say it, folks, but the glory days of us, you know, having like vivid on-air reactions to Mr. Greg, they're just behind us. That's in the past. That's in the rearview mirror. Oh boy, Dragon, this has been a trying conversation. And honestly, Dragon, in spite of all the negativity, this might be one of the most memorable podcasts you and I have ever recorded together just because of how surreal it was. So I'll give you props, sir. I think we kind of ran the gauntlet together, and it might have been difficult, but I think the two of us kind of came out on the other side stronger because of it. So any final thoughts?
It was definitely the most was not the best Stephen Baum, to say the least. But then again, it was I got nothing.
All right,
we're done. So it's.
Well, thanks for joining us, folks. In spite of the negativity, I really do think this was a really good conversation, Dragon. So thanks for thanks for giving your energy to it. I appreciate it. And folks, I tell you, I have no idea when we're going to talk about this show again, but we'll try and be more punctual with it than we were this time. We'll try and get to it closer to when the episodes actually drop.
Okay, that's not our fault, though. I'm gonna throw blame where blame needs to be.
I know.
That ain't on us.
So in the meantime, folks, Jacob and I are a little bit behind on the Starverse Forces of Evil episodes. We plan on getting the episodes that drop this week, specifically Wednesday and Thursday. We plan on getting that out tomorrow, so look for that. In the meantime, we are the Crystal Gems, and we'll always save the day. And if you think we can't, we'll always find a way. That's why the people of this world believe in Tiki,
Dragon,
and
Steven.
But I definitely believe in Peridot.